Howdy, everyone. Welcome back to Bastions and Basilisk. My name is Brandon Wynn.
My name is Kalvin.
I pointed to the right direction
Other,
because I know it's
other way.
flipping.
Point the other way.
Well, you're on this side.
I'm on that side.
Look, it might be mirrored. I don't know why.
It's fine. It's fine.
Anyway,
Coach profesh.
yeah, totally. And this is continuing the subclasses for the Barbarian, or archetypes, whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure.
They're paths?
Yeah, paths. It's a path of the Ancestral Guardians.
Yeah.
One specifically. I call them like archetypes, so it's like
they are archetypes. Like all of them are archetypes, but they're just specific, paths, colleges, orders, oaths, packs. Packs.
Yeah, it's like then there's the oh fuck, I forgot it immediately for cleric.
Domain.
Yeah, thank you. I'm still tired and I've slept a decent bit today. So to start off, we are doing the Path of the Ancestral Guardian. So it's starts. I'm trying to say starts and states at the exact same time. So you already off to a great start.
Starts.
Yeah. It states in the very beginning, ancestral protectors. Starting when you choose this path at 3rd level, spectral warriors appear when you enter your rage. While you're raging, the first creature you hit with an attack on your turn becomes a target of the warriors, which hinder its attacks. To the start of your next turn, that target has disadvantage on any attack rolls that isn't against you, and when the target hits a creature other than you with an attack, the creature has resistance to the damage dealt by that attack. The effect on the target ends early if your rage ends.
This just solidifies to me that barbarians are the tanks. Like a lot of their abilities, like this is more. Actually, this reminds me a lot of. You didn't play 4th edition, but I can't remember what it was called, but there was a primal like tank class in 4th edition that like their whole thing was to like they activate ability and like you swing at me or you suck at everything else. Like so I like this a lot because it forces the enemy to attack you. Well, it doesn't force them to. It's just if they're smart, they're going to attack you, and you already have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So it's really this one. There is no negative because I'm the barbarian. I have the hit points. I use this. I smack you. Especially, it's better against a single target. Obviously, the only negative is if you hit if you have more than one enemy. But on a single target like a giant, I swing at you. The giant decides they want to swing at the wizard. We use wizards a lot because wizards have a low hit points. And they have resistance now. So like it's either you swing at me and I resist it for the most likely, which is great. Like did I tell you that Chips, my barbarian, we got into a fight with fire giants. In one fight, I technically took 300 points of damage.
Possibly,
but because of, that's fine because of my resist. But yeah, we were fighting fire giants, and in one fight, I took 300 points of damage. But because of my resistance, it was only 150, and I got healed. Like I barely was still standing at the end of the fight because I had like 130 hit points. But like,
imagine was it Stan's dad? I think from South Park, and he's like, "I didn't hear no bell."
I didn't hear no bell. But yeah, it's like that's the thing. It's like you swing at me and I resist it, or you swing at him and he resists it, or they resist it. Yeah. And they have disadvantage. They have disadvantage against you. And when the target hits a creature other than you, the creature
it has disadvantage on attack rolls that isn't against you.
That isn't against you. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, it's you can swing at me and more than likely hit me because you'll probably have advantage because if you're a barbarian and you're not recklessly attacking, you're playing it wrong. Or you swing with disadvantage at them, like advantage at me and I resist it, or disadvantage at them and they resist it. Like
I feel like it would take them like a little bit, like saying in a role play sense, it's like the enemy that is fighting the barbarian, like say that they're surrounded by these things, are like, all right, well, I know this guy's hurting over here. The barbarian's like he's still standing pretty tall, so he's gonna go and try to attack like the wizard. And it's like I am not making contact because these literal
These
guardians are
yeah
just
these
blocking attack.
yeah.
And he's like,
I mean,
okay.
this
And then the
also
next
yeah, mechanically great ability. Role playing scene setting wise, also a great ability because like you decide what your warriors appear like. I think Matt Mercer was in Dimension 20, and he was playing like a rat person, Ancestral Guardian Barbarian, and I think his spectral ancestral protectors were like the ghosts of people that like his crew members that died on his ship. So like thematically, like you can make it thematically whatever you want. So you can have a really cool description. So it doesn't have to be that you're an orc and these are your orc ancestors. It could be you're a former sailor and you survived a crash and you're the only survivor and these are your former crew members or it could be really anything. I just think maybe you're an elf and it could be wood spirits or maybe you're an eladrin or a fairy or like it doesn't have to be boring. It can be very
it doesn't have to be
exciting.
directly horseshoed into being your direct lineage.
Right. It could be yeah, there's so many options. Or if you're something that like maybe, freak people out because you're like something with dragons and it's just like you just like your ancestral protector is just like you're like a kobold or a dragonborn or something and it's just this like medium-sized dragon just standing there like so it's thematically like it could be a really cool ability.
I just think of your kobold voice of "We're all dragons here."
We're all dragons here. It's fine. Well, except for you. Dragonborn barely count. You get a participation trophy.
Dissipation trophy, Jesus. The next ability is called Spirit Shield. Beginning at 6th level, the guardian spirits that aid you can provide a supernatural protection to those you defend. If you're raging and another creature you can see within 30 feet takes damage, you can use a reaction to reduce that damage by 2d6. When you reach certain levels in this class, you can reduce the damage by more by 3d6 at level 10 and 46 by 14th level. So it actually keeps like going up, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, and it really enforces the protector aspect because they swing and if they hit the wizard has resistance and then I think um I think you reduce then resist.
Technically,
I think there's a specific order. Um, either way, so either way, it's positive because what the average is of a d6 is a 4. So initially, you have a giant hit the wizard for 26 points of damage. Either way, it's a net positive because either you reduce it by half, so they take 13 points of damage, and then reduce it by 2d6, which the average being 4 per die, so 8. So you reduce it down from 26 to 5, which is great. Or if you do it reduce, resist, then reduce. If you do it reduce, then it goes to 18, goes to 9. So it's a little bit more if you reduce than resist. But like it's still like that's 4 more points of damage, but that's still
a good amount. That's the difference between going
that's
unconscious.
still 17 less damage than you would be taking. So there's really no negative. So it's a good ability. It reinforces the being a protector, and protecting your teammates, your crewmates, whatever you want to call it.
And this is within 30 feet, so this can extend a pretty decent like radius around you.
The only negative, and this isn't me critiquing it and being like, oh, this is what makes it a bad ability. This is them balancing it. This is a balance thing. It's a reaction, so you can only take one reaction a round.
It's honestly like it's.
So that's them limiting it. So you can't be like you reduce damage. Like you're not Oprah. You're not like you take reduced damage and you take reduced damage.
Yeah, because it'd be broken to shit. It's like I guarantee in playtests people are like spamming the shit out of this, and they're like, we didn't realize how fucking broken this was, so we're gonna make this a reaction, which is perfectly fine.
Right? Yeah.
Like
That's
it would suck
res-
if it was like if they tried making it like a bonus action, like you preemptively try to figure out who's gonna do it. But I like the reaction because it's like, all right, I can make sure this happens to someone that's later on in my turn order. You know, it's like it works very well in my opinion.
Well, with Ancestral Protectors is anybody else. So
Yes.
you have a cleric and a rogue and a wizard, and you're the barbarian because we're going to go base normal party. That's where they're all of them are taking reduced damage against this whatever this single monster is. Um, this this is regardless. This is good if you are if you're fighting more than one enemy. I probably didn't say it. Should have said it like that. Like there's something else. This is good if you're fighting more than one enemy.
Yeah,
Because
it
like
is.
against Brandon, I use my Ancestral Protectors. You do reduced damage against everybody else but me. But then
Yeah.
Harley comes in, starts shooting at my wizard. I go, nah, fucker, and I reduce the damage that she would be doing to my wizard. So
Yeah.
it's great against primary or any secondaries. The negatives, especially if it's a critical hit, because cool, now you're doing whatever damage, but I reduce it by 2d6 and then 3d6 and then 4d6. Like it's a great ability. They had to balance it somehow, and that's why it's that's why it's a reaction. But then it's like sometimes there's effects that make it so you don't get your reaction. So that's the only negative. But still,
Not a bad like
it's not.
but
It's not. It's a solid ability.
and like with ancestral protectors, it doesn't limit because I just had a
Yeah, there's no
reread.
range to Insectal
Yeah,
Protector,
so you can
Ancestral
literally be
Protectors.
like spread out for a while,
Right.
and it's like you're at disadvantage because guess what, motherfucker? And then the people that are close to you, it's like, all right, you know, they're the ones that can take the reduced health damage. So it's like that's really beneficial to where it's like your party could be spread out for a great distance, and it's like, all right, they're gonna have protection from this, so they're at disadvantage still.
Right.
And
Still using the giant thing, and
yeah,
it doesn't say a melee attack. It
it
says
doesn't.
when you hit with an attack. So I could throw my axe at the giant as I'm moving in. Maybe I'm too far away to get them in one round, but I could move in, rage, throw an axe at them with advantage, and they decide to throw a boulder at one of my allies who's hitting them with magic missile in the face. That's still resistance. They still have disadvantage in the attack, and my ally has resistance to the damage. Maybe they get hit. I go, no, not today, fucker. And then they reduce it by 2d6. Like that boulder, like is an inconvenience.
The boulder just like you just watch as the guy that's like being bombarded by this boulder, and then just spontaneously two ghosts just appear and get demolished by it first, and just really reduces the
And
impact.
it like bounces up over them because you reduce it by so much that they actually take no damage.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
It'd be or funnier if it's a monk because monks specify
Deflect missile.
deflect missile. Yeah, so it's a ranged attack and a boulder's a ranged attack. So they deflect missiles on it. You reduce it. They're like fuck you with the spirit like the spirit shield. They just deflect a boulder. Like the giant's like this is some bullshit.
How did it do that?
Monks and barbarians are bullshit.
I don't like this party.
I
They're
don't like.
smart.
There's. Although the monk's probably already in melee because at 6th level they have at least a plus 15 or plus 10 or 15 at this point I think. So they're like, "What's up, fuckers? I'm in there. I'm in there. I'm all up in that business."
You know monks, but way better than I do.
I do. I love monks.
At 10th level, you gain the ability called Consult the Spirits, which is funny because I completely didn't read the first sentence, and it says at 10th level, you gain the ability to consult your ancestral spirits. When you do so, you cast the augury.
Yep.
Okay, I did not know that's how that was said.
Yeah, it's
Or
augury.
clairvoyance spell without using spell slot or material components. Rather than creating a spherical sensor, this use of clairvoyance invisibly summons one of your ancestral spirits to the chosen location. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for these spells. After you cast either spell in this way, you cannot use this feature again until you finish or short or long rest. I think this is like a really cool, like just neat way to just throw this in a non-combat way, in my
Right.
opinion.
A lot of their abilities at 10 are, I mean, especially what we've seen up to this point, aren't super net combat heavy necessarily. It is, I love thematically. Once again, this is a great thematic thing that, because it gives barbarians, because it's very much that cliche or that stereotype that barbarians are just dumb brutes. And
Yeah.
this is going like, no, I like, just because I am less cultured
Quote unquote.
doesn't mean that I'm like uncivilized, or it could be just because I'm uncivilized doesn't mean I'm not cultured. I have a
Yeah.
culture as a barbarian. And once again, this is a great thing that, augury's not a great spell. I don't know how, like, they're not bad spells, they're not great spell, like they're in the middle there. But it's a freebie. Once per short rest, you get one or the other. Like,
There's honestly no downside to
there's
this. Like, yeah, there could have been better stuff, but it's like this is a pretty cool spell or pretty cool like free thing that you get, and there's nothing that's taken away from you out of this. It's just it's more of a theater type of thing, but I think it'd be pretty cool. I don't know what augury does, but
augury is essentially like, it's a very basic spell. I'm looking at them right now, but augury is, um you receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about the result of a specific course of action. You'd be like, should we go into this, um, into this? Should we go into this door, or like, should we go into this dungeon,
absolutely not.
or like, well, like, and essentially, it's wheel is good results, woe is bad results, wheel and woe for both good and bad results. Nothing for the results that aren't especially good or bad. So if like you're like, should we walk through this door, or should we walk down this hallway? And it's woe, you're like, some bad shit's gonna happen. So maybe the floor's trapped, maybe there's somebody lying in ambush, maybe it's an illusion. There's like, so it gives you a preemptive thing. It's a vibe check, essentially. It's a vibe check. Augury is a vibe check. Um, and then I cast vibe check. Yo, bro! Like, now I like it. Your ancestral guardians are like surfers that have died. You're like, bro, like this. I don't know. That's not actually how surfers talk, I don't think, but it's just.
Not a gnarly wave you want to.
That's like. There's like some not good shit going down that direction, dude. I'm still mad that nobody got my joke.
Imagine the chicken from Surf's Up. Like I said, I think this is a pretty like neat ability. Like, it's just like, hey, guess what? You get some free spells, and you pretty much get a little bit of a
clairvoyance allows you to essentially, you create an invisible eye or ear, technically, because it's a sensor. So you can either in a location, it's 1 mile range, but it's you essentially, you can hear or see. You pick, so it's either you hear or you see when you cast the spell, I think. And you can hear or see what's going on in a location. So it's very, like, that's super useful.
Yeah. It actually is, because if you're trying to spy on something and you know exactly where it is within that place, but you don't want to get caught, you send your ancestral
Like,
spirit in.
it'd be even better. It's like one of those things too. Yeah, and essentially, exactly. You could also make it some kind of, like we made the thing about augury. Be like, the vibe check down this like hallway is not good, bro. But like, yeah, the clairvoyance could be something like, you send your surfer guy, like, surfs over there. I don't know. This analogy goes out the window when we actually try
It's
to
just
use
invisible surfboard as you
just right. It's just.
Like,
no, it's
there's no
invisible.
water.
It's invisible waves. Like, they're surfing, but it's invisible waves. But it's like an invisible surfer, just waiting. It like ADING in the room. No,
Jesus.
no.
Right.
This is a good ability. It gives barbarians something that isn't combat related.
Yeah, it's really nice being able to see this, because it kind of goes into like something that's, in my opinion, very forgotten, which is more of the role play aspect of the paths, dealing with like, hey, guess what? They have the ability to be like great with survival and animal handling, which I think are both skills they can take at creation. So it's like, they're kind of like, how do I put it? Like, they're not necessarily cultured in like most like where most places are like dealing with the fucking cities and stuff. They're more like nomadic typically, and they're just chilling. So it's like this kind of shows like, hey, guess what? They're in tune with the nature and
Right,
their
yeah.
so it's like, even though it's not necessarily what one person's culture is, it's like, hey, this is what I do, and this is what the people I do enjoy doing, and it's like I can summon these guys to help me out, you know?
Right. It's nice. It gives them more versatility than just I run around and I hit things. It gives them more depth as a character.
Absolutely. Uh, Vengeful Ancestors. At 14th level, your ancestral spirits grow more powerful enough to retaliate. When you use your spirit shield to reduce damage of an attack, the attacker takes an amount of force damage that your spirit shield prevents. Usually, when I see stuff like this, it's like half damage, but this is like literally the same amount of damage back, which at max is
Well, yeah, but it's
46.
46, so it's not like it's a ridiculous amount of damage.
It's not, but if you're throwing low level things at a party, like even at high levels like goblins, dude, you're gonna obliterate a goblin right there.
Right, right.
But
Yeah, but
I still like this.
Goblin's probably not doing. But yeah, no, it's a good ability. Yeah, it's.
This is nothing but positives. Like it's not a lot of damage. That's 24 maximum, but still that's
Uh, so technically, Spirit Shield, if you're raging at another creature you can see takes damage, it does not specify from a creature in Spirit Shield.
no, it could be anything.
So if they take damage from a trap, you could reduce it if you're raging. If you're raging. So if you're already raging, but yeah, you're raging and then they drop a ceiling on you, you can reduce the damage to the ally. But yeah, like that'd be funnier if like the trap shoots an arrow at somebody and they get hit, and then you're like, oh, I reduced it by 46, which should be 16 damage average. So I'm like, cool. Now the trap takes 16 points of damage.
They just punch the wall and
Like,
you hear a gear just.
well, it follows the concept of whatever your spirits are. So if it's your ancestors, like maybe it's your an orc, the orc jumps in the way, takes the damage, and maybe they and then you can thematically they can throw the arrow back at whatever it is, and then they take so it's, you can make it thematic instead of just like, oh, and some magical energy flows out of it and hits you. Like, you can make it, and it's force damage, which is one of the least resisted damages. So it's not like you're hitting somebody with, oh, you take some fire damage. It's like, no, you take force damage. So you're taking more than likely all of the damage that was reduced. So
not many things. Psychic and force, I think, are the most non-resisted. So it's like, dude, that's
what in force?
pretty impressive. Psychic and force, if I'm correct.
Yeah, psychic. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's a list, but yeah, no, it's not. It's always weird when they don't get something super great as a capstone ability, but this is the capstone ability, so kind of like it's a little underwhelming as a last ability, but it is by no means bad.
No, it's still just
because it's just it's an upgrade to an ability you already have, which is already pretty solid. So it's still a positive. It's still a net positive. It's not a drastic jump in boost of power for your class, but it's definitely
this is definitely so far one of the better subclasses that we've done, in my opinion. Like it like some of them have like some drawbacks and stuff, but this is like, it's mostly
Berserker was meh.
Yeah, but this one is like it had no real drawbacks. It's like these are nothing but positives, in my opinion. So that's the Ancestral Guardian, unless you want to continue talking about it.
Nope, I'm good with Ancestral.
All right. Next is Path of the Storm Herald, and I'm going down to my book now. They get some fucking spells. No, these are the features. At 3rd level, you get an ability called Storm Aura. You emanate a stormy magical aura while you rage. The aura extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. So it gets like partial cover.
Which means it goes through partial cover. So
that's actually pretty good.
You can't just stand behind a door and be like, I'm angry, you take damage, fucker. So
It's not behind a wall, but
But yeah,
maybe
somebody hiding behind, like a overturned table or something. They're still taking the damage, or whatever the
yeah.
ability is.
Your aura has an effect that activates when you enter your rage. You can activate the effect again on each of your turns as a bonus action. Choose desert, sea, or tundra. Your aura's effects depends on your chosen environment as detailed below. You can change your environment choice whenever you gain a level in this class. Wow. If your aura effects require saving throw, the DC equals 8 plus proficiency plus constitution, which con is actually pretty impressive
Yeah,
about that.
con is arguably the second most important ability of a barbarian behind
Yeah.
strength.
Desert. When this effect is activated, all other creatures in your aura take 2 fire damage each. The damage increases when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to 3 at 5th level, 4 at 10th, 5 at 15th, and 6 at 20th level. C. When this effect is activated, you can choose one other creature you can see in your aura. The target must make a dexterity saving throw. The target takes 1d6 lightning damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. The damage increases when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to 2d6 at 10, 3d6 at 15, and 4d6 at 20. Tundra. When this effect is activated, each creature of your choice in your aura gains 2 temporary hit points as icy spirits inure it to suffering. I don't know what the fuck that sounds a little weird. The temporary hit points increase when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to 3 at 5, 4 at 10th, 5 at 15th, and 6 at 20th level. Personally, between these, I think C would be the best because it's just higher damage output, but obviously you're rolling versus guaranteed. That's just me personally.
It's they're all good. I'm gonna say they're all pretty equal. It just depends on the situation. Fire is the most highly resisted, but it's an AOE.
Yeah.
So if
And
you're level 3 and you're surrounded by goblins, you're raging. All of those goblins around you are taking 2 fire damage each round. That's if you're completely surrounded, that's 16 damage. Actually, it's a 10 feet. It's a 10-foot aura, I think. Yeah, so it's even better than that. So it could be double that, depending. But and then it
it's
goes up.
guaranteed damage too, so that's a
Right.
good thing. At least it's guaranteed.
The only negative is all other creatures, so that includes allies.
Yeah.
That's the only negative.
Like you're technically like whatever is within 10 feet of you is what's being damaged. So say that there is no allies and that's just purely enemies. That's a
Yeah.
lot of technical damage going through each. Like in total, that's a lot of damage being done instead of just to one creature like the sea is.
And there's no saving throw against it either. So
Just
you can roll poorly on the C ability and do crap 1 point of damage each time, or you can do crappy, or they roll well and they succeed. It's 2 points of damage per person. So desert is good. C is good because you can get upwards of 6 damage if you're fighting something that's takes extra damage from lightning damage. It's great. If they're You also get to choose, so it's not like desert where it's everybody.
yeah, you get to choose who it is.
So it's or it's either something that's takes extra damage from lightning or has a terrible dexterity saving throw. You're fighting zombies.
Yeah,
Or,
that's just guaranteed damage.
that's effectively guaranteed straight 1d6 damage. So
I like the Tundra because it gives you temporary hit points and it also goes up with each of your levels. And yeah, it starts
right.
off at 2, just like, and I think it's the exact same
But yeah,
scaling.
it is. But it's creatures of your
So
choice, so you can choose your allies. You're raging, and so
they get X,
everybody in your part that's at the start of your rage. Um,
but
and that
it
that
doesn't
includes
start.
you too, by the way. That includes you too.
Yeah, it doesn't say you can't. So it's like it
So
doesn't
I
say
rage.
that
Everybody else in the party gets that boost to 10. Everybody, you get 10 pit points. You get 10 pit points. You get 10 pit points. Especially if there's NPCs that you really like that dog. Um, you run into combat, you also get that too, and then you smash into somebody and you're fighting, and then every turn you're getting 2 temporary hit points. So you already as a barbarian have a good chunk of hit points, and you're reducing the damage. But now you have a guaranteed 2 temporary hit points every round while raging. That's at level 3. Like it's not game breaking, but all of these I couldn't pick. I would pick one because you have to. But I like the ability that you can pick every level. I would probably change it so you could pick every time more often than
I
every
think it would be
level.
smarter to do
Um,
that, but that's
or yeah, I know. Because none of it's super ludicrously powerful. But it's
and once you pick one,
maybe,
like
maybe at earliest, a long rest or something.
yeah,
Because once you get up to really high levels, then you're once you max level, you're like, cool, I can never change any of my whatever storm or I belong. So I like all three of them. I would have to pick because I have to pick, but it really depends. It really depends on the group. If you're in a group that has a lot of tieflings, desert, like if you have a fighter and a rogue in your party, or if you have a rogue tiefling and maybe a cleric tiefling, or maybe a red dragonborn, or like if you have a party of people that are resistant to fire damage, take that, and then you're all meleeing and be like, yeah, your allies are taking damage, but they're taking 1 point of damage, which isn't terrible. It's not. It's not tons of damage, but there are also effects that when somebody is damaged, like the charm effect, they get to roll against the charm effect again. So like that's there. Desert could have benefits. So.
all right. So at 6th level, you gain something called Storm Soul. The storm grants you benefits even when your aura isn't active. The benefits are based on the environment you chose from your storm aura, which this is, I guess, is like at this point, I feel like you should this is a little bit more kind of semi-permanent based off the leveling. Desert. You gain resistance to fire damage, and you don't suffer the effects of extreme heat as described in the DMG. Moreover, as an action, you can touch a flammable object that isn't being worn or carried by anyone else and set it on fire. I just imagine Roy Mustang. C, you gain resistance to lightning damage, and you can breathe underwater. You also gain a swimming speed of 30 feet. Tundra, you gain resistance to cold damage, and you don't suffer the effects of extreme cold as described in the DMG. Moreover, as an action, you can touch water and turn a 5-foot cube into ice, which melts after 1 minute. The action fails if a creature is in the cube. Personally, I like them all pretty well.
Because there's
ice is a little weird, but otherwise it's good.
Yeah, but setting something on fire also doesn't have a great use either.
It doesn't, but it's like,
I mean, if you're like, you're somewhere and you have to set a fire, but you don't have anything to set fire. You're like, cool, boom, I touch this wood and now we have a fire. Or I touch this torch and now the torch is on fire. Or like it's not. It's thematic. It's a thematic thing. It's not anything super ludicrously powerful. I mean, C is really strong because there's lightning damage, which once again, fire damage and lightning damage are the two most resisted, because they're the two most common damage types. But lightning resistance, breathe underwater, swim speed of 30. Which, by the way, swim speed of 30, your movement boost ability applies to all forms of movement. So technically, you have a 60 or a 40-foot swim speed.
Ooh, almost fell.
So,
I like it. Like, this is nothing but a positive because obviously you're gaining a resistance to a certain damage type, and you gain some small, or in my opinion, very large, great ability from it. Like, you get to cast something on fire that's flammable, you get to make a 5-foot ice cube for some reason, or you get to breathe underwater and gain a swim speed of 30 swim speed of 30 feet if you already don't have it. Personally, I believe if you already have it, it should go up to 60. That's just me. But
think about it this way. With Tundra, you're thinking like, oh, I turn this water over here into ice. What if you're in a trap that water's pouring in? You touch the nozzle and now you freeze the water. So maybe it stops the water from coming in, or maybe you're treading water. You'd be like, cool, I turn 5 feet of, or maybe it's hot water. Like it's now I turn this scalding hot water. Now there's an ice cube in it, a 5-foot, which I could probably figure out the thermodynamic math of that. But like, it's a 5-foot cube of ice that's gonna cool some stuff down. Like it's one of those things. Like it depends.
Your job now is to like at the end of this, when we're done, you're gonna send me this. I'll be like, I don't understand any of it, but I want to screenshot it just because.
There's gonna be. I'm not gonna do the math. I'm not getting paid for it.
That's fair.
If people watching this want me to figure it out, they'll have to like and subscribe. This is why I would pick this. This is why I would allow somebody to change this. I would have them to have to explain it, but I would allow them to change this during a long rest, because there would be nothing crappier than you like the C ability, because you liked the C ability, so you have to choose the environment. So you pick C at third level, and then you get to level 6, and you get C ability. You're like, cool, lightning damage, breathe underwater, 30-foot swim speed. Hell yeah, we're in a desert.
Yeah, and you can't do shit.
And you don't know you're going to be in a desert when you level. So like, I would allow it. I would figure something out as to why, like what something you have to go through. Maybe your personality changes. Maybe you have not like huge, not like dissociative identity disorder big, but like, you know, your personality, right? Kind of something like that, where it kind of shifts, like a seasonal thing. That's why there should be 4 of these. But yeah, I would something, or something else. Something, you have to do something for it to change. But I would allow it to change over maybe a week. You have to take a week to acclimate to the new environment or something. But that would be. I don't know. It would suck to be in a desert or in a tundra or in a city, and you have cool abilities that are useless.
It's like it's nothing but positive. Also, like the fact that you have to choose at the beginning of a level is what really hinders it. That's the only thing.
Yeah, because you don't know.
It requires a niche thing that you have no pre-planning for. So that's the only like drawback to this so far. At 10th level, you get Shielding Storm. You learn to use your mastery of the storm to protect others. Each creature of your choice has the damage resistance you gained from the Storm Soul feature while the creature is in your Storm Aura, which is 10 feet still. I don't think it's gained like move any.
Yeah, so no, I don't think it goes up.
It's a small area, so it's like, say you're surrounded by allies, that's really good. But that's like a really small area to have that ability. Still nothing but positives, because like, in the end result, if they're right next to you, then they're good. They're saved from this ability of pretty much taking so much damage. If they're like in the fire, they're resistant to it, or the cold. It's got some like really cool things. Like they're immune to extreme heat and extreme cold. That's, although I have never implemented.
No, they get the damage resistance, which I would give them. But that's only while you're raging. So you have to. It's while you're Storm Aura, which is your first ability. So while you're raging, every ally, each creature of your choice within the 10 feet of you has resistance of your Storm Soul.
We could create reasons for the Barbarian to continue to rage.
Well, yeah, you just keep stabbing them. But I mean, you're raging, and then you get fireballed. Everybody, like, and this plays into the thing I said earlier. People stay near you. Now they have resistance. So before they were taking, level 10, it goes up to 4 damage. So now they're taking 4 damage. Now they're taking 2 damage. Yeah, so they're taking half damage anyway now. But and then there's some things that you'd be like, oh well, they got like a bleeding effect. You're like, well, they took fire damage, so that cauterizes it. But drop a fireball in your party, or you're fighting a fire, like a red dragon. Yeah, your aura's not doing any damage against the red dragon, but your allies within your range, all of them have resistance. Calm down, Mike. Pop stand. I hit it with my finger. All of them have, like, you get breath weaponed by a red dragon. Everybody in your aura has resistance to fire damage now. Like, that's great. So, I mean, it's better if you're fighting something. It's better with a tundra. You're fighting like a. Whatever does, I think a blue dragon. No, blue dragon does lightning.
White dragon.
White dragon. You're fighting a white dragon. You have tundra. Your allies have temporary hit points. They have resistance to cold damage. You are stomping the hell out of a white dragon at level 10.
Yeah. Like I said, nothing but positives. Even though it's like
it's only resistance. But like I said, the ability to change it maybe over a long rest, maybe over a week, you at least can go into a fight better prepared, and that kind of alleviates it. But yeah, no, it's great. It's a good ability. It's not like the best level 10 ability. I don't think it's as good. I would say it's like slightly less than the Ancestral Guardian one, but like
Oh yeah, I would
because this
rather
one's
have it
because
that
this
way.
one's still combat related, so it's still specifically combat instead of some kind of nifty uh tertiary ability. But it's still a good ability. It's a strong, solid ability. It's not bad. I just think it could be a little bit better than just you have resistance to damage while in the aura.
All right. At 14th level, you get a Raging Storm. The power of your storm you channel grows mightier, lashing out at your foes. The effect is based on the environment you chose for your storm aura, all that jazz still. Desert. Immediately after a creature in your aura hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to force the creature to make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes fire damage equal to half your barbarian level, which is maximum 10.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit a creature in the aura with an attack, you can use your reaction to force that creature to make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is knocked prone as if struck by a wave. I can see that going really fucking south for them as criticals just land on them. Tundra. Whenever the effect of your storm aura is activated, you can choose one creature you can see in that aura. The creature must succeed on a strength saving throw, or its speed is reduced to 0 till the start of your next turn as a magical frost covers it. That also is really good. These are all pretty decent. Like you get like pretty much at max level, you get a guaranteed 10 fire damage, I think it is.
Well, no, it's on a failed save that they take fire damage.
Yeah, I'm saying like if you
So,
fail to save.
so if they succeed the dex saving throw, then they take the fire. Then they don't take anything.
I'm just
I
saying like under the assumption that it fails.
I would say like all of them have been kind of equal up to this point. I think Tundra takes the lead here because if I'm fighting something like another barbarian or strong character, yeah, maybe Tundra doesn't go off most of the time, but you're fighting a rogue or a wizard or something that's not strong. You hit them, or you hit them with you're next to them, and now their movement is 0. Like you're not going anywhere, bro. It's
See,
me
I
and
like
you.
C because they can get knocked prone, and I'm just thinking about like the damage from the guaranteed crits that are happening as
Well,
they're prone.
no, that's unconscious that they get or paralyzed or stunned that it's automatic crits. On prone, you have advantage on attack rolls against them.
I might have been like
Still a good ability. Still, but that's assuming that if they haven't used any, if they're only based with you, that's still a good ability. But now depending on who's in your party now. Anybody who's melee with that guy or that person now has advantage on all their attack rolls while they're
Imagine
not
having an
pro.
assassin rogue in your party where they get advantage. So, dude, that
Well,
is a lot.
that's if they are pro. If you're attacking a prone target, you have advantage on your attack roll.
Yeah, it isn't the ability. If you have advantage, you get the ability to
That's only during the first round of combat. Well, yeah, no. If you have to be based with the person is hitting you with an attack roll. So there's a good chance that you're already
I'm saying like the party member.
the barbarian is already probably based with the person. So if the rogue is based if the rogue is attacking somebody who is threatened by an ally, they get sneak attack anyway.
Yeah.
So they're getting sneak attack, period. If the barbarian and the rogue are meleeing something, the rogue is getting sneak attack. The additional advantage is nothing but bonuses. But once again, it's a strength saving throw, and it's based on your con as a barbarian, which is probably going to be hopefully 20 at some point. If you're playing it good, you're going to have a 20 strength to 20 con.
Start getting higher at like higher levels. A lot of creatures that you face have a high strength, so like that's one of the drawbacks with this being strength like saving throws is that it's depending on
what you're fighting.
Yeah, and depending on what you're fighting, is like it's going to be a really even keel of you might lose this or you might get this. It really depends on how high
in Curtis's game, we were in the arena and we were fighting Dane the Boulder Johnson, which he was a half giant. He had a lot of ludicrous abilities. He knows they do. I'm looking at him if he's even watching. If he watches this. Ludicrously high constitution. I had Marty had the bearded glaive that bearded devils get, which if you hit if you hit somebody with it, they have to roll like a DC 12 Constitution. If they fail, they take 1d10 bleed damage every round, and it's stacked. So every time you hit them, if they keep failing, it keeps stacking. So it could be 2 or 3. Or this thing had like a plus 10 to its con or something like that. Like I was like, it's never gonna fail, but it's always worth using. And then it
100%.
failed. It failed once, only once in the fight. But I was like, 100% worth it, because now this enemy is taking 1d10 bleed damage every round that they can't resist. So it's always worth it. It sucks when it's wasted, but it's not like this is a resource like a spell where it's, I use a spell, they save, cool. Now they're not charmed or stunned or paralyzed. So I just wasted a 15th level spell slot. Cool. This is like, hey, I just wasted my reaction.
Yeah.
So all of these are good. I think Tundra's my favorite, just because it's like, yeah, you ain't going nowhere. I hit you, or you're near me, roll. The only negative is it's one creature, but it'd be better if it was anybody. But it's still a good ability.
Yeah, I like them. Personally, I like to see more, mostly because of the swim speed aspects and like just.
Oh, I meant just specifically level 14. I'm not talking about any 3 or 6.
Everything.
I'm not talking about, like, once again, it depends on the situation. I think it's they're all good. C is really strong. If you're in a C environment, oh yeah, C is real strong.
This is definitely specific to what you have around you, definitely for the situation you're in. I definitely agree with that.
Oh, the best part. If you are knocked prone while flying, you fall. So if I'm fighting something that is flying and they hit me, I go, suck it, and they fail their strength save, they fall to the ground.
That is true, and they take all that damage.
So yeah, I'm like, cool, I'm up there. That's why Eldritch Smite is a strong ability, because you're fighting something, you hit something with Eldritch Smite, now they fall whatever the distance is. But you're fighting something 90 feet in the air because it's an angel or a devil that's flying. You're like, cool, you go up, you melee them. Hopefully obviously you're flying is the implication here. But you're up there, you're all up in its business. They're knocked prone, which means unless they have a hover speed, but even if they're just straight flying, they fall to the ground. So
It's gonna suck for them.
So C can be really strong if you're above 5 feet. like you're 30 feet, they're 30 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet in the air, and you're flying and meleeing them. Cool. They hit you, and then it's like, I hit you, then you hit the floor. Then the ambulance hits 90 or whatever this. So yeah, it could be. All of them are really good. I like Tundra just a little bit better, because arguably I think if an enemy's speed is reduced to 0 while flying, they also fall. But I could be wrong about that one. But I like Tundra as the level 14 ability. I like Tundra the most. But that is in no way diminishing the abilities that Sea and Desert have, because both of those are still really useful.
Yeah, they're like you said, they're specific to what you have around you, and the only drawback is definitely just the fact that you can only do this per level up. That's why I agree with you on, like, you need to figure out some sort of way to to make sure that you can change this more readily, because like you said, at 20th level you're stuck. Then kind of sucks.
Yeah,
But I'm good to start the next one if you're ready on it.
Yeah, do it to it, homie.
All right, starting the path of the Zealot. At 3rd level, you get Divine Fury. When you choose this path at 3rd level, you can channel Divine Fury into weapon strikes. While you're raging, the first creature you hit on each of your turns with the weapon attack takes extra damage equal to 1d6 plus half your Barbarian level. The extra damage is necrotic or radiant. You choose the damage type when you gain this feature. That's actually a pretty neat ability.
Right. So
Maybe
this is
you
what
can
this.
choose which
Right. You have to choose. So you have to choose essentially at level 3. You pick either necrotic or radiant. Um, radiant is rarely ever bad because if you're in a good party, you're probably going to be doing radiant damage. Even if you're in a bad party, you're probably still going to want to do radiant damage. The only things that not everything has radiant resistance.
Yeah,
But
not
I
a lot
mean,
of
it's
things.
great against if you're fighting zombies, they can't use their undead fortitude. Or I love being dramatic and moving my microphone all over the place like I'm some kind of. You missed it because you were looking away. If you are playing a Dwerger Path of the Zealot Barbarian in Curse of Strahd, you will make Strahd your bitch. Because his bite attacks and his claw attacks are going to be reduced because they're bludgeoning and piercing or slashing. So while raging, you're taking half damage against all of his primary attacks. You're a Dwerger, so you have advantage against being charmed. And you're going to hit because his AC is not going to be that high. So even if you don't get the Sun Sword, you're attacking recklessly. You're going to hit him with whatever weapon you're using, and you're going to do radiant damage, which means he
You
no
can make
longer regenerates.
you can make him literally ask for forgiveness for absolutely everything that he has done in his crimes, as crimes.
Because vampires are strong because they have their charm ability and because they regenerate. They're kind of weak as far as CR10s go, but I'm hitting you. There's no way I'm not hitting you if you're a vampire. Anyway, so that's a whole sidetrack thing. But play this if you're playing Curse of Strahd. Play this. It's a good because an extra as a barbarian. The cool thing is I think technically if you get a crit, you add another d6, so it's 2d6 plus half your barbarian level. I could be wrong on that, but hitting. I mean, barbarians don't get a whole lot of swings. They normally cap out at 2 at 5th level. So being able to do an extra d6 plus half your barbarian level, it's really nothing but benefits, and it's radiant damage. So if you're fighting something that's resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. So if you're fighting a werewolf at level 3, why I don't know, but this is the only thing. They're immune to your bludgeoning, piercing, and slash damage, but they're taking the 1d6 plus half barbarian level. They're taking, at this point it's 1d6 plus, I think you round down, plus 1.
1d6 plus 1.
But that's
Max
that's 2 to 7 radiant damage. That's better than nothing. And I will take better than nothing all day.
Better than nothing versus you are literally just begging for help.
So I love Path of the Zealot. Path of the Zealot. If you're playing,
unless you're using spells,
if you're playing a pure combat game, which D&D is a primarily combat game, Path of the Zealot is a incredibly strong subclass for both of its level 3 abilities.
Talking of which, the second level 3 ability is Warrior of the Gods. Your soul is marked for endless combat. If a spell such as Raise Dead has a sole effect of restoring you to life, but not undeath, the caster doesn't need material components to cast a spell on you, which is super useful.
So powerful. Once you get to level 5, you have somebody who can cast Revivify. That's broken as it's broken as fuck.
Yeah, literally.
I don't think Ashley Johnson ever got to use it in season 2 of Critical Role because I don't think her character ever.
Reading this, and I was wondering why this sounds really familiar.
Her Azimir was a Path of the Zealot barbarian who followed the Storm God, Stormbreaker, Storm Lord. You don't think you're as a character whose whole purpose is to run into combat and beat the shit out of stuff and get hit. Being able to go, oh no, I died, and then being like, cool, I used Revivify, because once you hit 5th level, Revivify doesn't cost gold on you anymore. Always have Revivify prepped. Always make sure somebody in your group has Revivify, There's no reason not to be like, I'm going to be reckless as fuck, guys. Just accept it. Be like, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's literally
Cast
all it costs me at 5th level is a spell slot.
It's
That's
gonna
I'll
be
take it
so
over 300 gold pieces worth of diamond dust per casting. Or, higher level, or if you lose the body or something happens, like, they've been dead longer than 10 days when you get to raise dead, or, like having no material cost. The material cost is the limiting factor of all of the raising dead spells.
Yeah.
So
totally.
having no limiting factor on that makes this is a 10 out of 10 for me. I know it seems ridiculous because you're like, yeah, but you have to die. I'd be like, yeah, but there's no negative. As long as you can, as long as we have something to revive me, there's no negative.
It is literally just as long as you save one spell slot, that is the base minimum for Revivify, you are guaranteed to come back up.
I'll even I'd be like, GM, if I was playing, I'd be like, I just want a wand of Revivify, Raise Dead, or whatever, just once per day. I'll even take once per day. Like, Revivify might be a little wonky because maybe I died twice a day. It happens to the best of us. But, I will put all of my money into getting this because it's worth it. Because it's not,
100%.
and it'd be cheaper because you're like, no, I don't need any diamond dust. So, eat a dick.
Spam.
Yeah.
Your gods just smile upon thee. This really is just fucking
so
like you said,
powerful.
Both are just OP as shit, just super good.
Divine Fury is really good. It's a good ability. Warrior of the it's not the best ability, but it is a strong ability. Warrior of the Gods
+10 at some point.
Right. Of Radiant or Necrotic. Still good damage.
Normal damage.
Well, yeah, right. Warrior of the Gods is arguably the strongest Barbarian subclass ability ever.
I have not actually seen anything stronger.
Of almost any class, really. Actually, the only thing that I would say is probably stronger. We haven't gotten to it yet. Is the Death Monks from Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. They have an ability that, their level 10 ability or level 11 or whatever, their third ability that they get. If they would be dropped to 0, they spend a key point and drop to 1 instead.
Dude, that's a lot of fucking ability times that you can use that
if
you don't use. That's fucked.
I could jump off a cliff and turn into a goldfish like a dumbass.
We're fucking good.
And then proceeds to die. I can give her shit about. I can't. I don't know her personally, and she's not watching this anyway. But if Marissa watches this, it was a dumb move. We can all agree.
They made fun of it later on.
Right.
Too.
Warrior of the Gods is arguably the strongest subclass ability in the game.
It's really good. It really is. But continuing, unless you want to continue on this.
Well, it's in a game based on combat.
This is just good as shit.
I die. It's free for me to come back, except for a spell slot.
To these
abilities. It's a little tricky, but once if you have a cleric and you get to 5th level or 5th level spell slot, so if you're 9th level or higher party and you're playing a barbarian and you know it's going to be an intense combat game and you don't go Path of the Zealot, I respect your choice, but it's a poor decision. I respect thematically you want to go a different direction, and that's fine. But Path of the Zealot in a combat based game like D&D, it's so strong. Anyway, yeah, I could go on about how ludicrously powerful this is, but we have to finish this video sometime.
Yeah. At 6th level, you get Fanatical Focus. The divine power that fuels your rage can protect you. If you fail a saving throw while you're raging, you can re-roll it and must use a new roll. You can only use this ability once per rage. You pretty much get it Indomitable?
Yeah, essentially. Once per rage, you get an Indomitable, which, at level 6, I think you still maybe 2 rages per day or per long rest. So. Maybe you're up to 3. I think they get up to 4 or 5 or 6, and then at 20 they're infinite. So you might be at 3 at this point. So that means 3 rages 3 times a day, arguably. You get to reroll a saving throw. So once again, like I said, against Strahd, against the vampire, this is why this subclass is built to destroy Curse of Strahd. But yeah,
They made this with Strahd in mind.
they probably didn't, but this is what I was playing a Dwarger Barbarian that went this direction, and I didn't even choose it. I was like, I just want to play it, and then I was like, I realized how strong it was in that module. This is great because it gives you Indomitable 3 times per day at this point, essentially, which is great.
It is really good so far, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, I didn't realize how much I would enjoy Ancestral Guardians and this class so much. Like, I like Storm Herald so far, but so far Zealot is like super good at this moment, and it's like, damn, if I had to play just between
everything in Xanathar, all of the subclasses in Xanathars are good. Like Totem is good depending on what you go, like it's thematic. Berserker is okay, but like everything in Xanathars was strong.
Yeah, this is like, damn, do I really want to keep playing? If I play Barbarians in the future, do I want to play Totem still just so I get this?
You should try everything, you know.
Oh, I plan to. It's
but yeah, like it's definitely, if you're playing in something like I said, Curse of Strahd, or my former sister-in-law, she was playing this in Descent into Avernus. Like if you know you're going to be somewhere where it's not readily accessible getting revives, great class. Or something where you might have to roll saving throws. That's any saving throw. So that could be vampire trying to charm you. I get to reroll. I fail a dexterity save versus a fireball. I get to roll again. Like it's a good ability. I mean, the only negative is you have to be raging, but you're probably raging anyway. If you're making saving throws, you're probably raging anyway. And then in conjunction with one of the barbarian abilities where it's like, if you're surprised, you could rage. So like, if the enemy surprises you, like, ha, I charmed the party. And be like, I take that as a threatening maneuver. I would like to roll initiative. We roll initiative. I technically get to rage as my action to start the initiative. So my turn, I start raging. I get to roll again. Like,
and this goes into like that entire thing of a character wouldn't necessarily know or like another person's abilities, like an enemy wouldn't know another person's ability. So imagine like with something where it's like, oh yeah, you get to re-roll a saving throw at the end of each turn. It's like you end up being able to rage because you're forced to fight your party members, and it's like, dude, you just screwed yourself.
Right. See, I like if you're playing, if it's an enemy that's fought the party multiple times, I could see them using this against the barbarian, where they're throwing stuff at the barbarian, kind of like what you would do with like legendary resistance. Essentially,
you're trying to make them use it.
You're just throwing stuff at you, and you're just like hoping that they fail and use their legendary resistance until they're out of legendary resistances. Yeah, and then start hitting them with like the real good stuff, because now there's real skin in the game. So like it would be really cool to see an enemy use this against a barbarian, where they're throwing the fireballs at them, or lightning bolts, or like AoEs that like, all right, and then when they're like, all right, I think that the barbarian's out. It sucks if the GM uses it oh, I used it. They look like they kind of were like, no, I do it like 3 times. Like, oh, they're out because they used it 3 times. And then they're like, ha. As long as the GM's not being a dick about it, like being like reasonable about it. Be like, they seem to be able to shrug off 3 to 4 times more than they should have.
Yeah.
And it's been a while, so maybe it's 5 times now. Like, so they're playing smart. If you're playing a wizard that's slinging stuff at the party, they're a smart class, so they should figure it out. But yeah, it's a good ability.
100%. Like, nothing but positive so far. Like, arguably one of my favorite ones so far that I've read. At 10th level, you get Zealous Presence. You learn to channel divine power to inspire zealotry in others. As a bonus action, you release a battle cry infused with divine energy. Up to 10 other creatures of your choice within 60 feet of you that can hear you gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the start of your next turn. You can use this once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. That is for an entire turn of your
Right.
allies utilizing advantage.
Right, and you're level 10 at this point. So that means that
And
if you
on
have
saving throws.
that's
And
true. I
on
didn't even see the saving throws thing, or I didn't. Yeah. So this is a great ability. I mean, it's only once per long rest, but it's also a really strong ability. If you're like, this is a now or never turn, the barbarian's like, I got you. Now or never turn. This is my now or never ability. It'd be even cooler if you were like a kobold, because they get their like dragon roar ability. So they can use that a couple of times to give everybody advantage. And then they're like, all right, this is it. This is the last turn, y'all. This is our now or never type of turn. And then they use this, and so that does the same thing, except it's saving throws as well. So it's, and you have a party, you're a barbarian and you have a monk in the group. Now the monk has, at level 10, they can swing 4 times around with advantage. You have a fighter, they're still 2 swings around. But like that's any attack. So that's, you have, unfortunately, a warlock in the group. They're throwing their eldritch blasts. Like,
it definitely is useful as shit. Like you get arguably a free round of advantage on attack rolls and saving throws
right.
per long. Like
And
that's OP as shit.
see this once again, this is really good. Hold on. You don't have to be raging for this.
It doesn't say you have to.
So if like I said, if something happens and the whole party is debilitated by some spell, you use this and now everybody has advantage. So maybe the whole party is charmed. You use this and it gives everybody advantage to break out of the spell. Or attack rolls, unfortunately, it'd be attack rolls against you if they succeed. If they fail on the saving throw and they're still charmed or whatever. But like, well, now they're just going to beat the shit out of me faster, so it's not going to be my problem for much longer. But no, I mean, yeah, it sucks that it's once per long rest, but it's because of how, I mean, up to 10 creatures. I mean, you only have a party of 4 or 5 generally, including yourself. And the only, like, once again, the negative is it's up to 10 other creatures, so you can't target yourself with it. But you're fighting in a skirmish with allies, or it's a great. It's somewhere in between good and great. I don't think it's a great ability.
I think it's a
Because
solid ability.
because once per long rest, so that limit, it's not like a reaction, so it's not once per turn, or based on your proficiency. But
it's still very strong for what it is, in my opinion. Like it's pretty good.
No, yeah, it's a strong ability. It's a really good ability. It's not great. It's really good though.
Continuing, at 14th level, you get Rage Beyond Death. The divine power that fuels your rage allows you to shrug off fatal blows. While you're raging, having 0 hit points doesn't knock you unconscious. You still must make death saving throws, and you suffer the normal effects of taking damage while at 0 hit points. However, if you would die due to failing death throws, you don't die until your rage ends, and you die then only if you have 0 hit points. Which at that point you can still be revived for fucking free. Who gives a fuck?
So
this is honestly probably one of the funniest things. It's like, bro, you get to continue fighting. It doesn't fucking matter. You don't stop your rage. So it's like, dude, you're decimating people, and it's like, Charlie's gonna go down. Charlie goes down. Revivify. Back up.
So this combo is actually even better with the build that I'm already planning on doing, where you take the periaptive wound closure, where what you automatically stabilize. So at your turn you stabilize automatically. Still great. You're still at 0 hit points because it does specify 0 hit points. It doesn't say that you stabilize if you're no longer stabilized. But I mean, it's still like only if you're failing death saving throws. If you keep succeeding your death saving throws, you still go. So if the end of combat, if you haven't failed a death saving throw, you're still golden. You take periaptive wound closure and remarkable recovery from the Tal'Dorei Reborn book. So when you stabilize, you regain hit points equal to your Constitution modifier.
That's not bad.
So that means that while raging, a Path of the Zealot Barbarian will never die. Because you cannot do, at level 14, 10 plus con modifier, probably a 3 at this point. That's 13 hit points times arguably 14. That's 140, 150 hit points. You're not going to drop them to 100, a negative, because you have to do, I think it's in one hit, you have to do their negative their hit points. You're not going to do 140 points of damage in one hit to anything, really. I mean, maybe at 14th level, but they're still going. That Barbarian's never dying.
You're gonna get a pretty solid fucking tank out of this. Like
especially once you're level 20, like essentially this and the better part is you have a party. You're like, and it's while you're raging. So as long as you're raging, so you could tell people rage is about to end. Like you'd be like, I'm coming down. The party, like the healer, could just be like, cool, cure wounds. You can keep raging after combat's over, and the allies can be like, cool, everybody's dead. We're just gonna slap a first level healing spell on the barbarian just to be safe. Like you're missing eyeballs and your arms cut off, but you're like still standing, and they heal you. You're like, cool, all right, whoo.
Literally, your intros are literally all over the battlefield.
All X trails.
Possible reason why you should still be like
right, but you're still. I'm still standing.
Of the gods, you were literally still alive.
So my barbarian in Curtis's Faerunian game is I changed him. Chips was Totem Barbarian. Now he's Path of the Zealot. The thing that I say is that while it's funny because he doesn't follow a combat god. He follows Kiltzi, which is the Maztecan god of love, both romantic and platonic. So while it is the magic that brings him back to life, it is his love for fish out of water that makes him want to keep returning.
That's one of the most
romantic. Yeah.
Yeah.
This could be yours, ladies. This could be all yours. That's the kind of romantic man I am.
I am hopeless. Not a hopeless romantic. I'm just hopeless.
But no. I have 2 failed marriages instead.
I'd marry you.
All right. You couldn't handle me, but I accept.
Look, I said I'd marry. I never said that we'd be together.
I got nothing for you, Harley. I can't. You need to step up your game, Harley. That's what I'm getting out of this.
She is currently doing a Elbrazu. I don't remember the.
All right.
Team. But that is all of the. I was like, we're on a side tangent. Let's end this because I have to go. That was the 3 barbarian paths in the fucking God. Xanathar's Guide to Everything. I've been having problems all day. Dude, very strong classes. I really enjoyed them. No need to rehash all.
Right.
But very good classes. I definitely, if I'm going to make some concept characters now, I really want to play some. But
Xanathar's is the strongest of the books of subclasses in my opinion. They're like I've seen some of them. We'll go over the other ones next video, but I think Xanathar's has the strongest.
Very, very good in my opinion. Appreciate everyone for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe and go, comment on this video if you enjoyed something or if you have something to critique. Mainly me not paying attention sometimes because I zone out. I think we're on the Bard. No, after we finish this, we're on Bard next. And I'm currently playing a Glamour Bard, so I definitely want to see how you react to those. So once we get to that point, I'm definitely excited. But
I'll tell you about my Eloquence Bard when we go over. Well, I get to go over Bard, so but we still have 3 more Barbarian paths to go over, but
we'll get to that point. But thank you all for watching. Subscribe to the channel and subscribe to his gaming channel, and I think I pointed in the right direction. And then please subscribe to mine, D&D and me, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And now you get to listen to the outro song. And that's the outro song. Yeah!